Life, in all its complexity, often presents us with mysteries that challenge our understanding. Yet, there is something deeply comforting in the idea that the universe operates under fundamental laws, a set of principles that connect each of us to a greater order. These principles are not rigid rules, but silent guides that reveal the secrets of existence when we look beyond the superficial. What if there were a map to navigate through chaos and uncertainty, a path that leads us to a life that is more aligned, more conscious, and full of meaning? That is the invitation the 12 universal laws offer us. An invitation to understand the workings of the cosmos and at the same time, discover our own potential. These laws remind us that we are not isolated but deeply interconnected. Every thought, every intention, every action reverberates like a sound in a vast space, creating waves that reach places and people we may never know. Through these laws, we are encouraged to recognize that personal transformation and universal harmony are intrinsically linked. It is not just about deciphering the secrets of the universe, it is about discovering who we are within it. Imagine for a moment that you could see yourself as part of a universal tapestry. Every thread, every intersection of lines, is significant, connecting you to something greater. What if the universe was constantly communicating with you, offering signs, lessons, and opportunities? That is what these laws invite us to explore. They not only explain the patterns that shape our lives, they give us the key to align ourselves with these patterns, making us active participants in creating our reality. At this moment, as you reflect on your own journey, consider this question. What can these laws reveal about the path you have walked so far and the horizons you still wish to reach? Throughout this dive into the 12 universal laws, we invite you to open yourself to the possibility that every aspect of life, even challenges, carries within it an opportunity for growth, alignment, and self-discovery. Everything in the universe is interconnected, bound together by an invisible force that transcends time, space, and appearances. The law of divine unity invites us to recognize this interconnection, to understand that we are not separate entities navigating alone through a fragmented world, but integral parts of an infinite and harmonious whole. This law reminds us that every thought, word, and action reverberates in the cosmic web, influencing not only our own experience but also the reality of those around us. Imagine a drop of water falling into a calm lake. Its waves expand in circles, touching the shores and altering the surface of the water, even if subtly. So too is the energy we emit. Every intention, no matter how small, echoes in the universe. When we understand this deeply, we realize that our choices have a greater impact than we could imagine, both on a personal and collective level. This law also challenges us to move beyond the illusion of separation. The ego, in its quest for identity, often creates barriers, making us believe that we are alone or disconnected. But the truth is that what happens to one affects the whole. When someone acts with love and compassion, that energy spreads, creating resonances that inspire others to do the same. Similarly, actions driven by fear or negativity have the opposite impact, perpetuating cycles of pain and disconnection. Reflecting on divine unity invites us to reconsider the way we relate to others and the world. What if every interaction were seen as an opportunity to reinforce this universal connection? What if every moment were a chance to contribute something positive to this web? Small acts, a smile, a kind word, a gesture of solidarity, become powerful tools to strengthen the bond between us and the whole. This awareness not only transforms our external relationships, but also leads us on an internal journey of recognition. When we look within, we see that the essence that moves us is the same as that which moves the stars, sustains the oceans, and guides the growth of a simple flower. We are individual manifestations of a universal energy, each with a unique role to play in this cosmic dance. As we practice divine unity in our lives, we begin to see challenges in a new light. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we start asking, "What is this teaching me about the whole?" This shift in perspective helps us navigate the highs and lows of life with greater clarity and purpose, recognizing that even difficulties have their place in the grand tapestry of existence. Breaking the illusion of separation is not easy, but it is deeply liberating. When we allow the consciousness of divine unity to guide our actions, we align with the true nature of the universe. We become co-creators of a reality where every choice contributes to a more harmonious and connected world. Everything in the universe vibrates. From subatomic particles to the largest galaxies, nothing is at rest. Everything is in constant motion, emitting unique frequencies. The law of vibration reminds us that we are essentially energy in the form of matter, and that our individual vibrations not only reflect our inner state but also interact with the environment around us. Every thought, emotion, and intention has its own frequency, shaping what we attract and experience in life. When we reflect on this law, we realize that our vibration is not something static. It changes constantly, influenced by what we feel, think, and choose. Moments of joy and gratitude raise our frequency, while states of fear or anger may lower it. This is not a judgment, but a reminder that we have the power to adjust our energy to create a more harmonious internal and external environment. Imagine life as a symphony, and each of us is an instrument. When we are in tune, our vibrations align with the higher notes of the universal melody, creating harmony around us. However, when our energy is out of alignment, the dissonant notes are reflected in our experiences. The good news is that, as conscious musicians, we can tune our instrument and adjust our vibration. Raising our frequency begins with awareness. What thoughts and emotions are we cultivating? Are we allowing ourselves to feel gratitude even in challenging moments? Are we cultivating love and compassion for ourselves and others? These simple practices have the power to change our energy in a profound way. A moment of gratitude, for example, can instantly elevate our vibration, bringing clarity and peace. Practices like meditation, conscious breathing, and connecting with nature are also powerful ways to tune our frequency to higher vibrations. When we meditate, we allow our minds to calm down, creating space for lighter, more harmonious energies to flow. Conscious breathing reconnects us to the present, where true peace resides. And being in nature reminds us of our connection to the whole, helping us align with the natural rhythms of the universe. The law of vibration also invites us to be more intentional about the environments we choose and the people we share our energy with. Just as we can raise our frequency, we can also be influenced by the vibrations around us. Being in harmonious environments and surrounding ourselves with people who resonate with our higher energy helps us maintain our balance and growth. Recognizing that everything vibrates gives us a renewed sense of responsibility for our energy. We cannot control everything that happens around us, but we can choose how to react, how to align, and how to raise our vibrations. Every small gesture counts: a positive thought, a moment of silence, an act of kindness. These choices create waves that reverberate far beyond ourselves. The law of vibration reminds us that we are creators of our energetic reality. By raising our frequency, we align with a state of being that attracts more harmonious experiences and connections. It is a daily practice, a constant invitation to become more aware, more aligned, and more connected to the vibrational flow of the universe. The universe at its core is movement. Thoughts and feelings, as powerful as they are, remain inert until they are converted into action. The law of action reminds us that the act of manifesting our desires and intentions requires a step forward, a transformation from the invisible to the tangible. Dreams do not come true in a vacuum. They require the active touch of courage and conscious effort to take form. Reflecting on this law is understanding that every small action has the potential to create significant changes. Even the smallest step is a movement toward what we want to build. Sometimes it is easy to get stuck in the idea that we need grand actions to transform our lives, but the law of action teaches us that consistency and intention in each act are what truly move the wheel of the universe. Imagine you have the seed of a large tree in your hands. This seed, by itself, holds all the potential to grow, but it needs your action to be planted, watered, and nurtured. Similarly, our ideas and desires are seeds waiting to be cultivated through our actions. Every gesture, no matter how small, contributes to the growth of what we aspire to. Action aligned with our purpose is the one that not only moves us but also resonates with the energy of the universe. When we act with clarity and intention, our actions become physical expressions of our deepest desires. This practice requires courage, as we often face uncertainty or fear of failure. However, it is important to remember that even hesitation is part of the journey, and every attempt brings us closer to who we are destined to become. The secret to applying this law effectively lies in authenticity. When we act in alignment with our values and truths, we create a force that transcends obstacles. It is not just about doing for the sake of doing, but acting with purpose, faith in the process, and an open heart to learn from each outcome. Selfless action, one that does not seek immediate rewards but is guided by a sense of contribution and alignment, has the power to generate profound transformations. Simple practices can help us incorporate the law of action into our lives. One of them is starting the day with a clear intention. Ask yourself, what can I do today, no matter how small, to move forward toward my goal? Another practice is self-reflection. At the end of each day, take a moment to recognize the actions you took and how they are contributing to your growth. This exercise not only reinforces your commitment but also strengthens your connection to the greater purpose behind your choices. The law of action also reminds us that our actions have an impact beyond ourselves. When we act with integrity and positive intention, we inspire others to do the same. Our courage to take the first step can open paths for those around us, creating a cycle of positive energy and collaboration. Finally, it is essential to remember that the path is not linear. There will be moments of pause, redirection, and even setbacks. This does not mean failure but an opportunity to adjust our course and strengthen our determination. Every action, even those that seem insignificant, is part of a greater dance, a flow that connects us to the universe and our higher purpose. The world around us is a mirror. Everything we experience, every interaction, every circumstance, is a reflection of what is inside us. The law of correspondence teaches us that the external and internal worlds are not separate. They are deeply connected in a harmonious dance of cause and effect. As above, so below. As within, so without. This wisdom, present in esoteric and philosophical traditions, invites us to view our lives not only as something that happens to us but as something that arises from us. When we look at the recurring patterns in our lives, the law of correspondence encourages us to ask, what does this say about me? If we constantly face similar challenges or encounter the same difficulties, it is an invitation to reflect on what we are projecting into the world. Not as blame but as an opportunity for understanding and growth. Imagine you are observing the surface of a calm lake. The image reflected on the water is not separate from what is above it. It is an exact reflection. So is life. When we feel inner harmony, it manifests in the people we attract, the experiences we live, and the way we perceive the world. On the other hand, internal conflicts often translate into external challenges. This perspective empowers us because by changing our inner state, we can directly influence our external reality. To apply this law, it is essential to cultivate self-analysis. Take moments to observe your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions. Ask yourself, does my life reflect what I desire or something I need to transform? This simple act of observation opens space for conscious changes. It's not about trying to control everything, but adjusting what's inside you so that your external reality aligns more harmoniously. Another powerful practice is gratitude. When we give thanks for what we have, we elevate our vibration and shift our focus to what is positive. This, in turn, influences what we attract and how we experience the world. Gratitude is a key that unlocks new positive correspondences between our inner world and the universe. The law of correspondence also teaches us to recognize the interconnection between the macro and micro levels of existence. What happens within a cell reflects the patterns of the cosmos. What happens in our hearts reflects the movements of the world. This understanding broadens our perspective and reminds us that our individual choices, no matter how small they may seem, impact the whole. When we recognize that the world is a reflection of ourselves, we gain new clarity about the power of our choices. We choose how to react, how to interpret, and how to create. This does not mean we have control over everything, but we have responsibility over how we position ourselves in relation to what happens. It is a dance between what is inside and what is outside, and every conscious step brings us closer to a state of greater balance and alignment. Whether in daily interactions, challenges, or unexpected blessings, the law of correspondence reminds us that everything has something to teach us. When we embrace this idea, we realize that we are active participants in the creation of our lives, co-creators of a reality that reflects what is truest in us. Every action creates a reaction. This is the essence of the law of cause and effect, a principle as simple in its formulation as it is profound in its implications. Also known as the law of karma, it teaches us that every choice, thought, and behavior creates waves that reverberate through our life and the universe. Nothing is isolated. Every act, no matter how small, leaves its mark, shaping our present and future reality. When we reflect on this law, we are invited to look at our actions with more awareness. Every decision we make, every word we speak, carries an intention that inevitably returns to us in some form. This is not a threat or punishment but an opportunity for growth. Karma is not a system of arbitrary reward or punishment, it is a direct reflection of what we emit, a mirror of the energies we place in the world. Think of the universe as a fertile field, where our actions are the seeds we plant. If we plant seeds of love, compassion, and kindness, we will reap fruits that reflect these qualities. On the other hand, if our choices are guided by fear, anger, or selfishness, the fruits we harvest may be equally challenging. This realization invites us to be more conscious about what we are cultivating in our lives. The law of cause and effect also teaches us that we are not victims of chance. Although not everything is within our control, our actions and reactions are choices that shape the way we live and interpret our experiences. Instead of feeling powerless in the face of challenges, we can choose to see them as opportunities to learn, grow, and change our trajectory. Cultivating conscious intentions is one of the most powerful steps we can take to align our actions with what we wish to experience. Before acting, ask yourself, does this choice reflect the energy I want to receive back? This moment of pause and reflection helps us create space between impulse and action, allowing our choices to be more aligned with our values and purposes. It is important to remember that although the effects of our actions are not always immediate, they are inevitable. Sometimes, the fruits of karma take time to manifest, and it is during this interval that our faith and patience are tested. Trusting the process and continuing to act with integrity, even when the results are not immediate, is part of the journey of living in accordance with this law. The law of cause and effect also teaches us to practice compassion. Just as our actions shape our experiences, the actions of others reflect their own journeys. When we understand that everyone is dealing with the consequences of their choices, we can offer more empathy instead of judgment. This principle is not only a reminder to be conscious, but also a source of power. It gives us the ability to change our lives one choice at a time. When we align our actions with positive and sincere intentions, we become architects of a more harmonious reality, both for ourselves and for others. By living in accordance with the law of cause and effect, we realize that life is a continuous flow of giving and receiving, learning and evolving. Every action is an opportunity to contribute to the balance of the universe and our own spiritual evolution. What will you choose to plant today? Life is constantly giving back. The law of compensation teaches us that everything we offer to the universe, whether in actions, intentions, or energy, eventually returns to us. This principle reminds us that there is no void in the flow of the cosmos. What is given is received back, often in unexpected ways. It is a delicate dance between giving and receiving, where every movement creates an impact that unfolds in time. When we think of compensation, it is easy to associate it with tangible rewards such as money or material goods. But this law operates on much deeper levels. What we offer in terms of kindness, patience, sincere effort, and unconditional love also finds its way back to us, often in forms that transcend the material. Perhaps it is a moment of joy, a meaningful encounter, or a sense of peace that arises out of nowhere. These returns are manifestations of the energy we place in the world. The law of compensation also challenges us to look beyond immediate appearances. Sometimes, the return of our actions may not be obvious or direct. A seed planted today may take months, years, or even lifetimes to bloom. In the meantime, we are called to trust the flow of the universe, knowing that nothing done with true intention is wasted. This trust is particularly important in times of challenge. When it seems that our efforts are not being recognized or that our good intentions are not yielding results, the law of compensation reminds us to look at the process, not just the outcome. The learning, growth, and strength we gain along the way are, in themselves, forms of compensation. The value is as much in the journey as it is in the destination. Giving and receiving, according to this law, are not separate acts but parts of the same cycle. When we give generously, without attachment or expectation of immediate return, we create space for the universe's energy to flow back to us. This openness allows us to receive more fully, because we are aligned with the natural rhythm of abundance. Simple practices can help us incorporate this law into our lives. A powerful exercise is to begin each day with the intention of giving something to the world, whether a smile, a word of encouragement, or a small act of kindness. At the end of the day, take a moment to reflect on what you received in return. This not only strengthens your connection to the universal flow, but also cultivates an attitude of gratitude that elevates your vibration. The law of compensation also teaches us about balance. Just as it is important to give, it is equally essential to allow ourselves to receive. Often we resist receiving, whether due to pride, insecurity, or limiting beliefs. But by opening ourselves to receive, we honor the universal flow, completing the cycle described by this law. Finally, this law invites us to act with authenticity. What we give to the world should not be guided by expectations, but by a genuine desire to contribute. When our actions are aligned with our essence and values, the return we receive is equally authentic and meaningful. It is an exchange that enriches not only our lives, but also the greater fabric of the universe. The law of compensation is a reminder that we are all interconnected in a constant flow of giving and receiving. By honoring this principle, we create a life of harmony, abundance, and connection. What will you choose to offer the universe today? Everything in the universe is attraction. The law of attraction reminds us of one of the deepest principles of existence. Like attracts like. What we feel, think, and believe emanates from us as a frequency, connecting us to experiences, people, and circumstances that resonate with the same vibration. We are, in essence, living magnets, constantly attracting what is aligned with our energy. Everything in life is relative. The law of relativity teaches us that our experiences, emotions, and challenges only gain meaning when compared to something else. Without contrast, there would be no context. Without darkness, we wouldn't understand the light. Without sadness, joy would lose its shine. This principle invites us to see every situation in our lives as part of a greater whole, where meaning emerges from how we choose to interpret it. The law of relativity reminds us that the challenges we face do not exist in isolation. They are opportunities for growth depending on the perspective we adopt. Imagine a rainy day. For someone who was planning an outdoor trip, the rain may be an inconvenience. For the farmer who has been waiting for weeks for water for their crops, it is a blessing. The event is the same, but perception is shaped by individual circumstances and needs. This perspective is a powerful reminder that we are not defined by the situations we face, but by how we choose to react to them. When we face a problem, we can ask ourselves, how can I see this differently? What lesson or opportunity is hidden here? By changing our point of view, we begin to transform challenges into stepping stones for our growth. Gratitude is a valuable tool for applying the law of relativity in our lives. When we recognize the blessings we already have, our perception of challenges shifts. The practice of listing things we are grateful for daily can help us focus on what is positive, even in difficult times. This simple shift in perspective has the power to transform our experience. Another way to work with this law is to remember that everything in life is temporary. The difficulties we face now, no matter how intense they seem, will not last forever. Just as the seasons change, our lives are also in constant motion. When we recognize this, we find strength to continue, knowing that challenging moments are temporary and often preludes to growth. The law of relativity also invites us to practice empathy. By realizing that each person is facing their own journey, we can become more understanding and compassionate. Someone's life may seem perfect from a distance, but everyone faces unique challenges. This understanding helps us build deeper and more authentic connections with others. This principle also teaches us to value our own achievements. What may seem small to one person could be a great triumph to another depending on the circumstances. Comparing ourselves to others can obscure our progress. Instead, we are called to celebrate our own path, recognizing that it is unique and valuable. Ultimately, the law of relativity challenges us to adopt a broader perspective and find meaning in everything we experience. Every situation, no matter how simple or complex, is a piece of the greater puzzle of our lives. How we choose to interpret and respond to these pieces determines the final image we create. So, in the face of challenges and blessings, ask yourself, how does this fit into my greater journey? What perspective will allow me to grow and find balance? The answer to these questions helps us live more consciously and aligned with the flow of the universe. Duality is the essence of existence. The law of polarity teaches us that everything in the universe has an opposite, and these opposites are not enemies but complements. Light and darkness, joy and sorrow, success and failure. Each aspect of life is sustained by its contrast, and it is through this coexistence that we learn, grow, and become more whole. It's easy to fall into the trap of judging certain aspects of our experience as good or bad, desirable or undesirable. But the law of polarity invites us to look beyond this superficial duality. Without the night, the day would lose its definition. Without adversity, triumph would have no meaning. Thus, each polarity offers us an opportunity for appreciation and balance. When we face challenging moments, the law of polarity reminds us that they contain within themselves the seed of their opposite. Pain carries with it the possibility of healing, failure the seed of learning. This perspective does not diminish the difficulty, but empowers us to find strength and meaning within it. Asking ourselves, what is this moment trying to teach me, is a powerful way to work with this law. Integration is the heart of the law of polarity. Instead of rejecting one side of the experience, we are invited to embrace both as parts of a greater whole. Light and shadow coexist within us, and recognizing this truth makes us more human and more complete. Shadow, as Carl Jung taught, is not something to be feared or avoided, but understood and integrated. It is a source of power and authenticity when faced with courage. This integration begins with acceptance. Fully accepting oneself, including the parts we consider imperfect or difficult, is a profound act of self-love. When we allow ourselves to be whole, with our flaws and our gifts, we find balance and inner peace. It is in this space of acceptance that polarities cease to be opposites and become complementary. The law of polarity also teaches us to find harmony in the world around us. Just as we seek inner balance, we can look for ways to balance external forces. This might mean finding middle ground in a conflict, appreciating different viewpoints in a discussion, or recognizing the beauty in the highs and lows of everyday life. Practices such as meditation and mindfulness can help us work with this law, as they allow us to observe our experiences without judgment. Instead of reacting automatically to situations, we can learn to respond with awareness, recognizing the role of each polarity in our journey. This practice helps us navigate life with greater wisdom and compassion. The law of polarity challenges us to see the world and ourselves from a broader and more inclusive perspective. Instead of fighting against the opposites, we are invited to embrace them, finding balance and purpose in their interaction. When we do this, we discover that the extremes of life do not divide us, but connect us in deep and meaningful ways. Ask yourself, which polarities in my life are calling for balance? Reflecting on this question, you may begin to see opposites not as conflicting forces, but as partners in an eternal dance of growth and transformation. Life is a rhythmic dance, a series of cycles that move in predictable and, at the same time, surprising patterns. The law of rhythm reminds us that everything in the universe operates in flows and ebbs, like the movement of tides, the phases of the moon, and the seasons of the year. This universal principle governs not only the world around us but also our internal experiences. Just as nature alternates between periods of activity and rest, our lives also follow cycles of expansion and contraction, light and darkness, action and contemplation. Accepting the rhythm of life is one of the deepest ways to find peace. Often, we resist moments of contraction, those times when things seem to slow down or when we face challenges. But the law of rhythm teaches us that these moments are not interruptions in the flow of life, but essential parts of it. It is in these intervals that we find space to reflect, learn, and renew our energies. They prepare us for the next periods of growth and fulfillment. Understanding this law requires a shift in perspective. Instead of fighting against the cycles, we are invited to flow with them. Imagine a surfer who learns to align with the movement of the waves, allowing the force of the water to propel them. Similarly, we can navigate the highs and lows of life, allowing each cycle to guide us toward our next step. The concept of Wu Wei, from Taoism, perfectly encapsulates this idea. Translated as effortless action, Wu Wei does not mean inaction, but action in harmony with the natural rhythm of things. When we act at the right moment, aligned with the flow of life, our actions become more effective and less draining. Learning to recognize these rhythms in our lives allows us to act with wisdom and grace. Self-awareness practices, such as meditation and journaling, can help us tune into our own internal cycles. By observing patterns in our thoughts, emotions, and energy levels, we can begin to identify our periods of greatest activity and those that require rest. This self-knowledge allows us to plan our actions more aligned, maximizing our energy and minimizing stress. Moreover, the law of rhythm teaches us to value patience. When we are in a moment of contraction, it's easy to feel frustration or impatience, wishing that things would move more quickly. But these periods have their purpose. They are moments of gestation where new ideas, skills, and perspectives are quietly forming. When the right moment arrives, we will be ready to act with clarity and confidence. Nature provides many examples of the wisdom of this law. Think of winter when the earth seems barren and inactive. In reality, it is a necessary period of rest, preparing the soil for the abundance of spring. Similarly, in our lives, moments of stillness and introspection are crucial for our growth and flourishing. This law also reminds us to celebrate the periods of expansion and movement. When energy is high and opportunities arise, it is the moment to act with enthusiasm and intention. These cycles are gifts from the universe, inviting us to make the most of the present moment, knowing it is part of a greater flow. The law of rhythm encourages us to trust the wisdom of life's cycles. It teaches us that everything has its time and place, and true harmony comes from embracing both the highs and the lows. Ask yourself, how can I align more fully with the natural rhythms of my life? Reflecting on this question, you can begin to live with more fluidity, acceptance, and balance.